What is up, everyone? How's it going? Welcome to another live stream. I apologize about the couple minutes of being tardy. I think my MacBook, the Wi-Fi chip or something in it, it does not work because I tried to upload and do stuff on it certain times, and it's just like dead in the water. No internet working, and then I try to do the same thing with my phone, and then it works perfectly fine. So if you guys have an Apple product, a MacBook Pro that's supposed to be like the best thing since sliced bread, and the internet sucks on it sometimes, please let me know. But welcome in, everybody. Welcome in. This is the live stream for the Forerunner Drive event. So I will have more videos coming for you guys. We did just release the TRD Off-Road versus TRD Off-Road Premium. I have MPG videos with the Trail Hunter. I also have off-roading with the Trail Hunter, TRD Pro, and some SR5 content for you guys. I am going also to the DC Auto Show, and hopefully I will be able to cover some of the Forerunners that I was not able to get my hands on. There was only one Platinum at this event, and I know that that was a very hot commodity to try to come across, and I just unfortunately was not able to secure some time with the Platinum. So that is pretty much the only trim level that I have not reviewed on the channel for you guys, but hopefully I will get some time inside of that. I will say that the Platinum interior, if you're cross-shopping and you're not gonna off-road a vehicle like a lot or at all, I don't see why you would buy a Land Cruiser when the Forerunner Platinum exists. I'll say that about the Platinum right now, but I do want to do a full video on the Platinum for you guys. But if you all are new to live streams, basically what we do is you guys just ask questions in the comment section. I will throw it up onto the screen like this, and then we will answer it. We do get about 10-ish so minutes behind sometimes. If you do want to donate to support the channel, you totally can. And when I see a donation come through, you automatically skip the line and you go all the way up to the top for me to answer your guys' questions. So Mr. Sunjeev says, and mainly we will focus on Forerunner tonight, but if you guys have other questions, throw them up in the chat. Mr. Sunjeev says, hey John, will Toyota making a 25 Forerunner plug-in hybrid? So there is no plug-in hybrid as of right now for the Forerunner. I'm sure that there will be in the future, but as of right now for 2025, it's just normal gas and then the hybrid versions. But I don't see why there wouldn't be a plug-in hybrid version in their lineup of almost every single car eventually in the future. Brian says, which is better to drive on the road, first edition Land Cruiser or TRD Pro? So I did not drive the TRD Pro on the road. That one was specifically only for the off-road course. And on the drive back home, I was able to drive a Trail Hunter at least. That was the only one left, thankfully, and I got to drive that home. So the biggest difference for me, and I mentioned this in my dislikes video for the Land Cruiser the other day that I dropped, is that this Tacoma and also the Forerunner, the way that they're tuned, they just seem like so much more amped up and like ready to go. It seems like the hybrid generator in them or something like that is always, when you put the pedal down, you feel that initial like lunge forward from the hybrid system. The Tacoma from a start with the hybrid components, it's like it gets up and goes a lot better. The Land Cruiser is very neutered for some reason. I'm not sure if they tried to make the Land Cruiser a little bit more refined or if they tried to, not make it, I guess, as herky-jerky. But you get used to driving these vehicles. I don't know. The Trail Hunter for me, on the hour drive that I drove it home, felt a bit more powerful than the Land Cruiser, for sure. It definitely did. It had less wind noise than the Land Cruiser, just the design that the cabin is of the Forerunner. It had less wind noise than the Land Cruiser. The seats felt not as comfortable, but they were still pretty comfortable in the Trail Hunter. And again, the power was just there. It was just like ready to go all the time. Tyrell says, I hope the old Forerunners get cheaper so I can get my first one. They most likely will go down in price. So we have 150 or so people in here right now. Just know, guys, that I will be about 5 to 10 minutes behind on questions. If we keep getting a lot of questions, I'll go a little bit faster. Typically, I like to give you guys more answer than a typical YouTuber would. But if we start getting a whole bunch of questions, I may have to go fast. Sween says, what about the build quality compared to the Tacoma? So these were still prototypes. They were very far along, I guess, in the prototype scale of things. So they were like the last bit of prototypes before production models. But compared to the Tacoma, it felt better. It felt like a little bit more solid than the Tacoma. The Tacoma is a pretty solid truck. I know people don't like it. Certain people do. And then, they say it feels cheap. But for me, my two Tacomas haven't felt cheap, like no different than my third gen. So the 4Runner, the materials felt better. The seats are definitely more cushy. And the materials did feel better. Hard plastics, like the plastic itself that you wish it wasn't plastic, it was still at least a hard plastic and not like a thin piece of crap plastic. So those ones were good. I will hopefully be getting my 4Runner, guys, next week or the week after. We will see how things line up. So that will be our first real look at an actual production vehicle. And Toyota Jeff giving a big, nice $5 donation. This is how you guys jump all the way up to the top of the comments, because we are already getting behind on comments. You guys can go over to Toyota Jeff's channel. He's going to have a lot of 4Runner stuff over there as well. He says, what's a typical Toyota media day like? Tell us all. Well, we fly in from wherever we're flying in from. Usually there's a hospitality suite where you get your room key and everything. And then you go up to your room and you just wait for a dinner that night. And then the next day, it's guns blazing, man. We are out there recording, trying to get our hands on whatever we can. And that was a big thing, too, was that our group had about 20 people or so in it. And there were only like 15 cars. So 15 or 16 cars. It was really hard to get like a good ample time with vehicles, unfortunately. So it was kind of unfortunate. Oscar says, hoping for some SR5 content. The SR5 content will drop tomorrow. So that was number 2, at least on Facebook. I need to check where YouTube is for the rankings on that. But I did ask you guys what you guys wanted to see first, and the TRD off-road stuff was what you guys wanted to see first. I am going to drop a video either tonight, right after this live stream, or early tomorrow, just asking your guys' opinions. Because I have 2 4Runners that are reserved for me. It's a Tier D off-road and then a Tier D off-road premium. So I want to know your guys'. I'm going to explain which one I'm kind of leaning towards in a video. But I also want to see which one you guys want to see more. So SR5 content, though, will be dropping tomorrow. And Toyota Jeff, thank you so much for the $5. I truly, truly appreciate it. Excited to hear about the TRD Pro. So the TRD Pro was cool, man. It was better than the Tacoma TRD Pro, but not at the same time. So I was driving that 4Runner with Talon Sai, and Talon and I, we were in it, and we both kind of had the same conclusions. I'll let you guys watch his video, but my thought process of the 4Runner was that it felt like way more balanced, way more comfortable off-road, but it didn't feel like the Tacoma, where the Tacoma wants you to get all rowdy, throw the back end around and stuff. And the shorter wheelbase of the 4Runner was nice. It actually performed, I feel like, a little bit better on the same off-road course that we took the Tacoma onto. And not that the Tacoma did bad. It was just like, it was just a recipe for perfect wheelbase that the 4Runner was. The way we went up this steep incline, the Tacoma kind of like hopped around just because it's a longer wheelbase and it doesn't have as much weight in the back. The fact that the 4Runner's batteries kind of just sat over the rear axle. I don't like SUVs off-roading, because sometimes when the back end lifts up, you just think of an SUV flipping like the old 90s freaking Ford Explorers, right? But the fact that the batteries are over the axle, it felt super, super balanced. One thing that I did notice, though, is that when you get into a Tacoma with the isodynamic seats, you actually felt a lot more focused as a driver, whereas on the 4Runner, on the same exact course, you were bouncing around a lot. So we have almost about 180 people in here right now. If you guys want to leave a like on the live stream, I would truly appreciate it. We are running about 12 minutes or so behind on the questions. What's up, Alejandro? So I'm trying to get through questions as much as possible. I'm not skipping every single question, but if it's one that we already answered, then I probably will skip it. So we just got a lot of people in here right now and a lot of questions. I truly do appreciate all the support. All right. So Noah says, which 6th Gen 4Runner trim are you planning to get? I am going to be getting a TRD off-road, most likely a normal TRD off-road, unless you guys want to see another premium. Full Sense says, hey, John, what's up? What's poppin'? I'm an ass for asking this, but are you finally getting an FJ? I will eventually get an FJ one day, but not right now. It's very focused on new Toyota products right now. Until we get the big barn, we won't have an FJ. Phoenix Odyssey, what up in here, man? How's it going? Fernando says, hey, John, are you still experiencing vibrations on your TRD Pro? I am, unfortunately. And I am going to put new tires on my TRD Pro, but I don't have the proper lugs for it yet. So those just came in the other day, and now I'm leaving for the DC Auto Show. Other reviews on the 4Runner made it sound like the ground clearance and approach angles were worse than the 5th Gen. Is that true? It's probably true because all of the 4Runners have the air dam. So that is probably why the actual numbers are skewed and worse than the 5th Gen. But to me, the rear bumper and everything on it is just as high as the 5th Gen. And I believe the TRD Pro and Trail Hunter are taller than the 5th Gen as well. They have taller tires by about 2 inches, and the TRD Pro and Oldman Emu lift. So I feel like those are higher. So those should have more ground clearance. Joe Rady has a review on the Platinum. He's done it twice now, actually. So hopefully I'll be able to get it at the DC Auto Show. What expectation is about transmission or engine recall? Nothing for these 4Runners and Tacomas. Toyota already fixed the Tacoma transmission issue about, I don't even know now, 6 months ago or so. And so far, these engines, knock on wood, haven't had any issues. Dorito says, thanks for all the hard work. Really shows. Any chance that you have an ear for Toyota's feedback teams? I either need Platinum and Everest or TRD off-road premium with folding mirrors. Everest Platinum, that would actually look pretty cool. Josh, so this was a pretty cool one. So how does it compare to the Tacoma? So it compared to the Tacoma in the sense of when I was driving, so I got the privilege to drive a Trail Hunter back from the venue all the way back to the hotel, which was about an hour drive. And as I was driving that, I couldn't help mentally to think that I was in the Tacoma, just because the dash was the same, the screen, the steering wheel, the mirrors, everything in the truck was the same as a Tacoma until I looked in the rear view mirror. I was like, oh yeah, this is an SUV. Or I did a head check. I'm like, oh, I'm in an SUV, not the Tacoma. So that aspect of it sucks. I don't like that. Me personally, I get why Toyota did it. They want to make it just how it was back in the Toyota pickup days and the 1st Gen 4Runner days, whatever. But I don't personally like it because it's the same exact truck. Driving wise though, the 4Runner seats are more comfortable. It felt a little bit more, I guess, compared to my TRD Pro, a tad bit more calm, I guess, not as amped up, but still not as nerfed as the Land Cruiser. The suspension is definitely a lot softer. That was the consensus from a lot of journalists, is that the suspension of the 4Runner felt softer and obviously more balanced than the Tacoma, because the Tacoma has, no weight in the back end. It's all cab and engine, and then the batteries are just sitting right there, right? If you get a hybrid model. The 4Runner felt a lot more balanced. So my biggest takeaways were the seats were a lot more comfortable. Well, I shouldn't say a lot more comfortable. The seats were a bit more plush than the Tacoma. It felt driving somewhat the same, but a little bit more refined. The Japanese team, they were different than the Tacoma team. It's not the same engineers and stuff, so they may have tuned some things differently here and there. And then the suspension as well was a bit softer. It's more SUV-like, potential mall crawler, right? Soccer mom, whatever. It was a little bit more refined of suspension, obviously not as bouncy too, because this is a truck and the 4Runner is an SUV. So those were my biggest takeaways when trying to compare it to the Tacoma. But mostly for me, man, it was just the same thing sitting in there, at least, compared to the Tacoma. Sturo Main, I'm sorry to hear that about that Tundra, man. That freaking sucks. I hate that people would rather steal people's stuff than work hard to get their own crap. Blue STI says, what's up, John? So the regular off-road can't add the 14-inch display. It cannot. So for Tacoma, you can do a tech package. You could do this. You could do that. 4Runner, it is just TRD off-road, and then you get the TRD off-road premium, which that's another kind of frustrating thing too with this event that we were at. In the video that I just showed, it showed that I believe the TRD off-road non-premium had a heated steering wheel, and then back on Toyota's options of website, it showed that the TRD off-road does not get that. And then even in the SR5 video that's dropping, there were heated seats in the SR5, and per Toyota's website, there's no heated seats on the SR5. So events like this are very frustrating because they're prototype vehicles. There's not that many of them. A lot of Toyota's employees don't know if things are standard or if this is how the vehicle's supposed to be. So parts of it are honestly frustrating sometimes because I'm not perfect, but I want to try to give you guys as much accurate information as possible without going like deep into the spec sheets. Like, oh, this is what you guys get on this and this is what you get on that. That's what most people care about. They don't care about, oh, how much torque and horsepower, whatever. It's a number. Cool. It drives good. But like, it's just frustrating when a lot of the options and stuff are completely different. We have a freaking crap ton of questions right now, so I am gonna blow through it and stuff. Shay says, I want your 4Runner. I'll trade you a 5th gen 4Runner for it. I already got one, but my Tacoma is for sale, 50 grand. I do have quite a few actually interested in it. So how is the body roll on the road? So the TRD Sport is actually probably one of my favorite on the road. If you're gonna buy one of these 4Runners for an on-road vehicle, the TRD Sport was great. Again, I didn't drive the Platinum or the Limited, just didn't have time and they didn't have enough of them. But the TRD Sport was very limited body roll, and then even that typical 4Runner nosedive when you like apply the brakes, it didn't really have that. Now I did the same kind of driving on the Trail Hunter. Trail Hunter had a lot of body roll and also that nosedive on the brakes. So the TRD Sport, you could definitely tune you could definitely tell that suspension was tuned very well for the road. Arham says, based on what I've heard, everyone says that the 4Runner drives and feels more refined than the Land Cruiser and Tacoma. This is true as well. So refined in the sense for Land Cruiser, it just doesn't feel nerfed and dumbed down. And again, for the Tacoma, because we did just touch on this, it's not as bouncy. The suspension is softer, and also the seats are softer as well. Very good linear powertrain too. It gets up and goes. It's as good, if not better, than the V6 over there. It doesn't rev out as much as the V6, even though it sounds like it because it's a 4-cylinder. It drove like you expect a modern vehicle to, honestly. And then the MPGs that I got with the Trail Hunter on the way back home was pretty good. Zion says, how is the drive and feel for the Sport? So the Sport, like I just said, it felt good, tuned suspension and stuff, very street-like. It wasn't as bad as the Tacoma. I remember the Tacoma TRD Sport being very, very bouncy, a little like too truck-like. The 4Runner Sport, at least this particular one that I drove in the canyons down there in San Diego, it was pretty solid. Twin Turbo, how's it going, man? Says, does the engine stay on when the doors are open when using remote start? It will for this new 4Runner. If you do the remote start, it will stay running. Yeah, so I don't understand this either. I did just see that on the on Toyota's website as well when I was doing stuff. Apparently, there's no aux switches on their site. I have no idea what Toyota's doing. I'm not sure if it's a lack of parts or what, but like even the sway bar disconnect, it's not on the TRD off-road premiums. It's an option now for the Land Cruiser. The aux switches are only on the TRD off or the Trail Hunter and Pro. So I have no idea what the heck is going on. I appreciate it, Project Poor Runner. Yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to be real with the 4Runner and stuff. I'm sure that they have good journalists over there that will give you all the details and everything, but mine is coming more from an enthusiast standpoint for the vehicle, comparing it to a Land Cruiser that I have, Tacoma. Like, is it worth it for me, to have $2,000 worth of payments between two cars? Like, no, that's stupid. Like, honestly, that's really stupid. But like, when I get to be on here with 250 people in the chat, and hopefully you guys all left a thumbs up, that would really make me happy. It makes sense because I can actually, instead of, just driving these cars for a couple hours, and then, maybe getting a press vehicle for a week, I actually get to live with them. I get to see which one's better. If you guys are in the market for it, sorry, I keep going down. My freaking chair keeps falling on me. If you guys are in the market for both, maybe you want a real world person's opinion to help you with your decision. So that is why I did that. Tyrell says that the hybrid adds 400 pounds of weight to the trunk. Who wants that for overlanding or off-roading? So one, you want the hybrid for the extra torque that it has, and it has a lot of torque. It is very punchy, just like the Tacoma. It's not kind of like, let's get up and go like the Land Cruiser. It is very punchy and very torquey. And the reason why you want that weight in the trunk is because it's an SUV. And if you have a rooftop tent or anything on your vehicle, your center of gravity for an SUV by doing that sucks. Any off-camber stuff, like the back end really wants to come up. So having a lot of battery weight right there over the rear axle, it helps a lot. And the springs in the 4Runner too. The TRD Pro does not have hydraulic bump stops like this Tacoma TRD Pro does behind me. The 4Runner has normal bump stops. And the way that Toyota did the spring rate for that, I really only hit bump stop maybe once that I actually felt it hit hard. But the spring rate in that new 4Runner is pretty good, honestly. Wood Duck says, I hear a lot of negativity from YouTube channels in the comments examples. I don't like the Turbo 4. It's not reliable. It's only been out a full year. Yeah, time will tell, right? I mean, name one Toyota engine that has been absolute garbage, aside from the Tundras because of apparently the debris issue. Aside from a Tundra engine, has there been any Toyota powertrain or vehicle that was just deemed super unreliable? I can't think of one. This 4Runner behind me, it's old as crap, dude. 15 years old. Toyota finally replaced something and people just want the old thing. Then go buy a used one. Okay, there's plenty of used ones out there. But that being said, this had 15 years with the 5th gen to prove itself. And then that same style of engine with some, reworkings and stuff to get to the 5th gen was in the 4th gen. So, I mean, this engine and powertrain in this thing is 20 plus years old. So yeah, time is going to have to tell. And if people don't want it because it's not reliable, then go buy a used one, wait 10 years, and then buy it when it proves itself. Hopefully it proves itself. 4Runner or Land Cruiser, can't decide on which one to get for a family car. Depends on how big your family is. The nice thing about the Land Cruiser is that it has a tall roof line. It feels a lot bigger on the inside. Even though the sizing of them specs-wise is pretty dang close, the Land Cruiser just feels a lot bigger on the inside. It also has HVAC too in the ceiling as well, which is nice. But the Land Cruiser, you have to buy a hybrid, whereas the 4Runner, you could actually get it with 3 rows depending on how big your family is with the SR5 or Limited. So, you have smaller kids and you may outgrow the 4Runner eventually, but you just want more seating, then I would recommend the 4Runner for that. Does the interior look better than the 5th gen in person? It does not in person. So, caveat to that. The tech and modernness looks better, but when you're in, a non, or even a TRD Off-Road Premium, this 4Runner behind me has more soft touch on the doors. I like the materials that they used for this 4Runner a bit more. This one does have, plastic in certain spots where I don't want it to be. So from a modern standpoint, the new 4Runner looks a lot better on the inside. From a material standpoint and how much plastic they used on the door and a TRD Off-Road Premium, I don't like that. So it's a pros and cons situation. The tech, for sure, it's all there. The new buttons, the layout is better. I actually get a sunglasses holder in a TRD Off-Road because all the dials are integrated into one switch. The steering wheel is way better where everything is laid out. So it's a lot more thought out than the 5th gen is. But that being said, I just wish it was as premium with materials in spots that should be as the 5th gen 4Runner. Does the iForce Max have a battery level indicator? I believe it does, because this Tacoma hybrid does, and also my Land Cruiser does. Dorito, how's it going? If I'm skipping your questions, don't think it's because I'm ignoring you and hating you. We got a lot to go through. We're about 10, 15 minutes behind now. If you guys do want to donate to jump up to the top of the questions, you can. The only ones that I am skipping are ones that we've already kind of answered. So if you're dipping in and out, I apologize. But we do have a lot of people in here, almost 300 people. If I'm reading this right, that is crazy. 10 from Facebook, 280 from YouTube. I truly appreciate that, guys. If you can leave a thumbs up, that way people can see it after the fact too, my other subscribers. My response, if any manufacturer can make an engine last, it's Toyota. Hopefully, we will see. The Tundra did not give people hope. I will definitely say that. The Tundra did not give people hope. And of course, the internet is an echo chamber. So then when a Tacoma comes out, I mean, it's kind of crazy that people think that the Tacoma engines are blowing up because the Tundras are. They're completely different trucks, but that's just uneducated people. Here we go. The whiners chiming about, yeah, it's crazy. Maybe that's where, if that's what half these comments are, or people just bitching about the powertrain, then whatever. How is the legroom in the second row with the front seats all the way back? Not good. Just the same as the 5th gen 4Runner is. If you put the seats all the way back, you hardly have any room back there. It's just a mid-size SUV. How much of a power difference is there from the iForce to iForce Max? In these vehicles, quite a bit. For the Tundra, I don't feel the difference. I mean, I feel a difference, but I've always said for Tundra, you're perfectly okay not getting the hybrid. When it comes to Tacoma, and it's the same for 4Runner as well, you can notice a big difference when you jump from the normal iForce to the iForce Max. The fact that the peak torque of 465 comes on at a very low 1700 RPM, I mean, that's like just over kind of, that's 1700 RPM is pretty much your cruising highway speed. So the moment you give that truck any pedal, it it gets up and goes very quick. The 8-speed transmission helps out as well. And then 0 to 60, like just to get the vehicle up and going, it's very, very good. I think in a video I did a 0 to 60 time. I did on the TRD Sport for you guys, non-hybrid. And it was decently quick. I mean, it's a 4-cylinder and it's an SUV, but it got up, I think, faster than that 4Runner behind me will. And we will do comparison 0 to 60s with this 4Runner and the other TRD off-road I get. Blue STI says, get the regular TRD off-road, John. I don't know. I don't think I can do a poll here on StreamYard for that. I'm going to see if I can go onto YouTube on the actual thing here and see if I can add a poll on the actual YouTube, because that is of the two vehicles that I'm trying to get. Can I do a poll? Engage with your audience. Start a poll. I can. All right, I'm gonna see what you guys say. Should I get a TRD off-road or TRD off-road premium? Because those are essentially the two options that I have right now. Off-road, premium. Off-road, premium. All right, starting the poll. We'll see where that goes afterwards. I'm not sure how long the poll will go for. And hopefully the signal and everything is still good for this. Appreciate everyone joining in, man. You guys are freaking awesome. This computer is starting to piss me off though, dude. I'm about to snap it in half. Odd that the Tacoma has sway bar disconnect mechanism as an option and the 4Runner doesn't. So I think that is mainly because they are running out of them. It was also standard in the Land Cruiser, and now the Land Cruiser has it as an option for 2025. So I think that they're running low on parts, unfortunately, because even the Tacoma, I was trying to get a Tacoma with a sway bar disconnect, and it was getting delayed like at the start of production for these Tacomas. So Ephraim, appreciate you in here, man. Do you think that the 6th Gen 4Runner feels as solid and as well built as the 5th Gen? I actually do. And I'll see when I get mine to when I long-term test it and I'm actually living with it. But it does feel as well built as the 5th Gen. I wouldn't say as solid just because all cars are getting lighter, a little bit more aluminum, a little bit different of plastics here and there and stuff, maybe some less sound deadening. So I wouldn't say it feels as solid like when you shut the door, because when you shut the door on a 5th Gen, you're in a tank. You're ready to drive, right? But the materials at least do feel pretty good. Is it a good off-roaders meets mom's car? It is. That is the 4Runner's bread and butter, to be a soccer mom vehicle on the weekend or during the week, take the kids to school, and have a good family outing on the weekend. So I think that it's pretty good. What are the occasions for the iForce Max to go full electric? So the iForce Max will go into electric mode if you kind of like take your foot off the gas and if it has enough juice in the batteries to kind of turn itself off and coast a little bit. I've noticed for my Tacoma, when I'm in my neighborhood, anywhere from 15 to 20 miles an hour, if the batteries are juiced up enough, I could pretty much make it from when I enter my neighborhood. We do have a stop sign, but I can make it from when I enter our neighborhood almost all the way to my house in EV mode. Which one drives better, 5th Gen or 6th Gen, especially the steering wheel? 6th Gen, all the way. I know this may hurt people. I am a 4Runner enthusiast. I had a 2nd Gen 4Runner, owned a 4th Gen 4Runner for a period of time, and then, well, I didn't technically own it, but co-owned it. A 5th Gen 4Runner, I've had this one since 2017. The 6th Gen drives better every single way. It does. The steering wheel, the electronic power steering, is a very good steering wheel. You don't feel all the road vibrations. Some people may like that, right? They want to feel connected with the vehicle. But this one has electronic power steering versus hydraulic power steering that the 5th Gen has behind me. The engine, as much as people, 4 cylinders, it's less than 6. I hate it. It drives better. The 8-speed transmission, better than the 5-speed transmission. It gets up to actual highway speed. You can actually cruise on the highway. You have passing power on the highway. It doesn't have to rev out like this one and the 3rd Gen Tacoma did. So I'm not talking shit on the 5th Gen. I still own it. I'm always going to own this 5th Gen. I love the 5th Gen. But with technology and powertrain enhancements and stuff, the new one drives better in every single way. And that's the normal iForce. That's not even including the hybrid. The hybrid just blows that thing out of the water. I would be interested in someone doing a drag race and a roll race too, from a supercharged 5th Gen 4Runner to a hybrid. I think a hybrid would walk a 5th Gen 4Runner with a supercharger. I really, really do. How is the 4Runner compared to the Land Cruiser? I enjoyed driving the 4Runner more than the Land Cruiser. Felt more comfortable in the sense of the powertrain was nice and peppy, and I just like the interior layout a little bit more of the 4Runner. I've become a fan of it with the Tacoma. It just felt natural to me, whereas certain things in the Land Cruiser don't feel the best laid out. 305 freaking people in here right now. If you guys could go ahead and leave a like, I appreciate it. We are currently 20 minutes behind on chat. So if you guys want your question answered, you are more than welcome to donate $1 if you guys want to jump up to the top of chat. But if not, I am going to continue to go down this. So don't think I'm ignoring you. We are 20 minutes behind. Biggest surprises and disappointments overall. So the biggest surprise for me is honestly how much it felt like an evolution of the 5th Gen 4Runner, and it didn't drive exactly like the Tacoma. So that was the biggest surprise and the biggest happiness. I guess that's the worst grammar ever, but we have a lot of questions. The biggest, the best thing about it is it didn't feel exactly like the Tacoma. It felt like an evolution of the 4Runner. But my biggest disappointment overall was the fact that when I was sitting in it mentally, because I've owned a Tacoma first, it felt like I was in a Tacoma. Just mentally with all the visual cues and everything of the vehicle, that was the biggest disappointment. Does the hood on the TRD Pro 4Runner shake annoying like the Tacoma? So I noticed on the TRD Sport, because the TRD Off-Road or the TRD Pro we had on an insane pro course, and the whole thing is just shaking. We're jumping it, turning it hard, doing all this stuff. So everything was shaking. The TRD Sport, which has the same hood as this, granted it was a white colored one, so it was maybe a little bit harder to notice, but I didn't think that the hood shook as much as my TRD Pro does. That may just be placebo. Maybe it's different materials because it's made in Japan. I may be completely wrong, and these hoods are stamped at the same freaking place. I don't know, but I didn't feel like the 4Runner's hood was shaking as bad as the Tacoma. It still did, but I don't think it shook as much as my Tacoma. Does the Platinum have any additional sound dampening than the Limited? That's actually a very good question. I wish that came up while I was there. I don't know if it does compared to the Limited. If I had to guess, I would say it has the same as the Limited, and the Platinum just has a little bit more features than the Limited. No worries, Joshua. Anthony says, watched a lot of videos today, and it really seems that there's less legroom in the back compared to the 5th gen. We will have to see. It feels to me the same as the 5th gen, but maybe it's the seats that are different. Maybe you sit a little bit further back on the front. For me, it felt the same, but then again, I don't sit in the back of my 5th gen that often, so I will do as good as I can of driving position in my 5th gen to driving position in my new 6th gen that we get, and doing backseat comparison videos and everything for you guys when I do get my vehicle. Did you floor it? I floored the crap out of this thing. I floored the crap out of the iForce and also the iForce Max. The iForce Max TRD Pro that I drove hauls on the track. I also drove a Trail Hunter back home, which that video may go out Friday, or maybe I'll just give you 2 videos tomorrow. That is very quick. Like you are 0 to 60 for an SUV pretty fast, and the passing power is good too for the iForce Max. We got a donation from Wandering TARDIS. I appreciate, man. Let's scroll down to see if you said anything with that. I do not see a question with that, but thank you so much for the donate. Oh, I see one right here. Do you think that the longevity will be there? I know it's early, but how long do you feel this generation will last? I hope longevity will be here because it's a Toyota, right? The Tundra, like I had mentioned, it did not leave a good taste in a lot of people's mouths. So that is a big wound that Toyota is still, even with the recalls and everything and with the new engines going into it, that is still a big wound that they are trying to cauterize, right? It just sucks. That whole Tundra issue, and with the internet being an echo chamber, just really, really does stink. With that being said, though, like I mentioned, I've just never known Toyota to make a purposely bad engine. So hopefully, this vehicle proves itself. It's not the first time the 4Runners had a 4-cylinder engine. It's had it since the 1st gen all the way up until I believe the end of the 3rd gen. So it's had a 4-cylinder engine before. This engine doesn't have to rev out a lot because of the 8-speed transmission. So, I mean, I feel like it'll be okay. I hope in 5 years or so, I don't have to come back on here and you guys say, John, you were freaking wrong. This thing sucks. But I have faith in it. I really do. I have faith in it. And the nice thing, too, is that this engine, you got to keep in mind, is in the Tacoma. It's in the Land Cruiser. Gas version turbos of this non-hybrid are in the Prados overseas as well. So, like, this engine and powertrain isn't just in the 4Runner. It's in all 4Runners, all Tacomas, all Land Cruisers, and also global products overseas. So the nice thing about having a global engine is if it has a certain issue in like somewhere, depending on how much is carryover for each model, if it has an issue, like let's say with the Tacoma, and it's a part that is shared with everything, and they found it here first because these Tacomas were kind of built first, then people are gonna be like, oh crap, let's fix this, cool, it's rectified, all cars are good. So that is my somewhat saving grace, I feel like, with this being a kind of like global engine. So thank you so much for the donation. I really appreciate it. That is how Wandering got to the very top and is not 20 minutes behind on the chat. Is the gas tank bigger than the Tacoma? It is a 19-gallon gas tank as well. I'm on a MacBook as well. I haven't seen the same problem with, and I've seen the same problem with the Wi-Fi. I had to restart my, yeah, so that's why I was a couple minutes behind to the live stream, because I had to restart the MacBook. It's very, very frustrating. Super excited. Our 4Runner is expected to arrive on the 15th. We bought the Everest TRD Off-Road in Florida. I'm planning on doing Trail Hunter wheels. That would look really, really cool. Does the light thing on the left-hand side of the steering wheel, so it does not. So that is an accessory that I shared with you guys on some short form content. That is an accessory that you can get through Toyota. So they're going to be making a whole bunch of accessories for that little kind of mounting area. Odd how the 4Runner feels more refined on regular fuel. This is one of my gripes that I had in my Land Cruiser video the other night, is that the Land Cruiser requires premium fuel. And this is like right and wrong. The Land Cruiser feels like not more refined, but just more elegant, because it doesn't like, yeah, let's go. You know, the 4Runner and the Tacoma, it's a weird feeling to like try to explain to you guys. And I don't mean to sound like a rich snob, right? Like I buy these vehicles because of the YouTube that it provides, right? So that's why I have all these cars, is to try to make content for you guys. But it's a hard thing to, like, unless you drive all of them, like it's really hard for someone to really see the difference of the engine. So like if I drove the Land Cruiser for a week and then hopped into the Tacoma, like right away I'd be like, ooh, this has some power. Even my wife, who I love her, but she is not like the most well-versed with cars. When she gets into the Tacoma, and I asked her after she drove this for a little bit and then got back into her Land Cruiser, and she's like, I need to drive the Land Cruiser to really figure it out. The moment she drove the Land Cruiser and she came back home, she's like, that Tacoma has way more power for some reason. So I don't know what it is, and the 4Runner also felt this way, and it's nice because you get to drive it with some regular fuel. So how does the Land Cruiser have a spot, though, in the lineup with the new 4Runner? Price, honestly, the 4Runner starts at 40 grand, and the Land Cruiser starts at the mid-50s. And you could get a fully done-up TRD Off-Road Premium with a hybrid, which to me is a way better buy than the 1958, for cheaper compared to Toyota's website. So that's kind of weird how the Land Cruiser falls in there. I'm honestly curious to see how sales are going to be for the Land Cruiser once the 4Runner finally does drop at the dealerships, because there's a lot of 1958s. There's not a lot of Land Cruiser grades, but there's a lot of 1958s kind of sitting on lots and stuff with dealer discounts and everything. And I'm going to make a video on this, but I think once people realize that, I mean, it also depends on availability, that a TRD Off-Road Premium 4Runner with a hybrid is like cheaper per Toyota than the 1958. That's like a bare bones vehicle. I guess it just depends really what you want for the vehicle. Do you want an all-wheel drive vehicle? Do you want it, or I'm sorry, a full-time four-wheel drive vehicle? Do you want the center locking diff and the rear locking diff? Or do you want features with the vehicle too? So it just all depends. Sterling, man, I appreciate that, dude. Everyone, if you guys could leave a thumbs up, I truly do appreciate it. And so far with the poll, it seems like TRD Off-Road is premium is winning right now. So for everyone joining the chat, I am still going to make a video real fast explaining why I think that a normal TRD Off-Road would be better, but we will see. Ryan Gregg, what up, man? How's it going? Darren, thank you for the $2. I truly do appreciate it. I do not see a question with that, Darren, but thank you so much for the support. It just came across as a donation, so thank you so freaking much for that. I am scrolling up just to see if you posted anything. You did, right here. See, there we go. And this was a little bit before that, but then I see a donation. Thank you so much, Darren. Says, would a 6th-gen Limited make at least a decent off-roader? I drive on black ice often, and I'd like an all-wheel drive offered on the Limited. I also do not like the black kind of scratchy plastic fenders offered on other models. I think that a Limited with the all-wheel drive system, and the cool thing too is you don't have to opt for the hybrid to do that with the Limited, whereas the Platinum is full-time four-wheel drive all the time with the hybrid as well. I think that would be a really good option for those looking for an all-wheel drive version of the new 4Runner. I think that would be good. And yeah, you don't need it for crazy off-roading. You just want to have the traction. That's another way too, going back to the last question, as to how the 4Runner will differentiate itself from the Land Cruiser. I completely forgot about it, because if you do want a full-time four-wheel drive, the 4Runner has it in both the Limited Hybrid, and also the Platinum. It has it for a full-time four-wheel drive system. So like, it really, I guess, is going to start to come down to design, interior layout. The Land Cruiser is a smidge bigger than the 4Runner, just, you know, height-wise and everything for the interior and stuff too. So it's really going to depend, man. I am very, very interested, not just Land Cruiser sales, but the 1958. Like that's the biggest one that I honestly worry about. And maybe Toyota's thing is like, hey, in 2 years, we're going to axe the 1958 and it'll just be a Land Cruiser grade. Maybe that's them thinking 3-4 years from now. I don't know. Maybe I'll ask someone and see if I'm right. I don't know. But maybe they'll just axe the Land Cruiser 1958 grade and literally just have Land Cruiser and a premium package and call it a day and just have it as that. And I wouldn't be surprised. This is Toyota tinfoil hat theory right now, right? And I wouldn't be surprised if they then make it kind of like a low volume again. I don't know. We'll see. I'll see if I'm right about that moving forward. And Ryan Gregg, dude, thank you so much, man, for the support on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube here, dude. You're a legend. I don't understand how you have so much time with your day, bro. But thank you so much for all the support across all of them, dude. You're an amazing guy. I appreciate it. William also says, with the $2 donation, thank you guys so much for just skipping and jumping up to the top. I appreciate it. Any updates on hybrids showing up to dealers? So at this event, they told me that they are going into production at the end of next month, which is February. So if they're going into production at the end of February, unless timetables move forward or back, right? That's just what they tell us at this event. There's so many other world factors and everything that go into stuff. And Toyota is a brand that is very slow to like bring stuff out because they want to QC everything, it seems like. I would expect hybrids at dealerships very early March into late March, honestly. Like, I wouldn't hold my breath. If I was wanting a TRD Pro, I would have my mind just made up that it will be late March to the end of March if I wanted a TRD Pro. So that is the reason why I did the poll there, and make sure you guys go vote for a TRD Off-Road or an Off-Road Premium. Maybe this, I'm not sure if you guys can change your votes too. So the TRD Off-Road is a black TRD Off-Road with nothing. And then the TRD Off-Road Premium is a Heritage Blue. I'm a little biased for my blues. And it does not have a moonroof, but it does have the Tow Tech package, which you get the full 360 camera view and all that stuff. So those are the two. I'm going to make a video maybe after this and post it up here. It'll just be a very quick, nonchalant, like, hey guys, what do you want? This is my reasoning for a black TRD Off-Road. This is what I would do with it, the type of content. But at the same time, if you want to see a 4Runner with everything, and if it's worth it, this is also the option. So I have both of those reserved. I passed on the other two with all these things that I have going on right now and the people that I was able to talk to try to secure these. It didn't work out for me in the West Coast, so I am getting one based out of Texas, which is nice. A lot closer than the West Coast, but still the ones that I was trying to get on the West Coast are now all sold, right? They tried to hook me up with it, and they're like, oh shit, this one's pre-sold, this one's pre-sold, this one won't get here, blah, 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 all this stuff. Really, the only available ones were SR5s, and not that I am against an SR5. I just wanted a TRD off-road just, I guess, for potential resale value and for the off-road goodies and stuff if I actually have to use them. But yeah, so go premium with the larger screen, go big or go home. Yeah, no need for the moonroof. I mean, I like moonroofs. I don't like moonroofs that are just a single piece of glass. I would rather it be like the GX where the whole moonroof is open. So William, dude, thank you so much for the $2. I appreciate it. Sorry about that quick little rant. Pros should be here or hybrid should be here in March, maybe a tiny bit sooner, but I would expect them early March into late March. Ryan says, my pleasure. System admin is a great way to make a living. Dude, I feel you, man. I mean, everything you got, I appreciate it. And not only that, but working hard for whatever you want is a great way to make a living, and you got to enjoy it too. You got to enjoy it. I am scrolling up a little bit, guys, and I am sorry if I missed some of your comments, but we are behind. We are on mics right here from 6:34 p.m. So we are pretty behind, and I appreciate everyone donating. Thank you guys so much. Thank you everyone for commenting and all the support. Not sure how long we're gonna go tonight, but you know, we're as long as you guys are vibing and we're all chatting and stuff, then we will keep going. But I do have to pack because I have to go to DC. Mike says, "Hey John, you convinced me. I made my decision of, I believe you say, never selling your 5th gen. Hey, don't sell it, dude." So that's the thing. Like the 6th gen, it's good, right? But if you love your 5th gen and you want the tried and true and everything, right? The 6th gen has big shoes to fill. It does. But if you want your tried and true, you want your 5th gen, you just want to keep it, you love it, like I do, I ain't selling it, right? What was Wolf of Wall Street say? I ain't leaving. It's not leaving. As much as like peak COVID, when I was like, shit, dude, I could sell this 4Runner that I bought for $43,000-ish for like 48, 49, because that's what those things were starting to trade for, which is crazy. And I'm not gonna lie, it went past my mind to just have cash in hand of like close to 50 grand. I thought about that a lot for that. But I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna start my little collection of vehicles, Toyotas, Fords, whatever I want, and that 4Runner will be sitting in the collection. How's the noise on the Tacoma and the 5th gen? So the noise on 5th gen 4Runners for me, mine is pretty solid. I've heard other people complaining about certain wind noise from theirs. My 5th gen is pretty solid. This new Tacoma, very solid as well. The acoustic glass on it is great. The way that it is sloped and everything and designed for the cab, I barely hear any wind noise on the Tacoma as well. And the 4Runner was pretty much the same. I'm not sure if it was because these were pre-productions and they only had laminate glass. They didn't have acoustic labeled glass. I'm not sure of the difference between laminate and acoustic. I do know that laminate is thicker than whatever the thin, crappy glass is on my Land Cruiser. But there wasn't a whole lot of wind noise. There was wind noise at about 75, 80 miles an hour. Again, you're a brick going through the air. So yeah, there's some wind noise, but it wasn't atrocious. And in all honesty, it was very, very windy in Southern California when we were there in San Diego. So I'm not sure if that attributed to some of the wind noise. Shay, thank you so freaking much for the $5. I truly, truly, truly appreciate it. Jumping straight up to the top of the comments, says, how does the limited or platinum exterior differ from other trims? So the limited is very similar to the TRD Sport in the sense that it's all color matched. So both the limited and also platinum are going to be completely color matched almost everywhere. The wheel arches are color matched, the door handles, the grill surround, a lot of the stuff is color matched. So that is where it differentiates itself. And then they have normal hoods. The platinum goes further from the limited because now you're throwing some darker accents into it as well, kind of like the Platinum Tundra. It has a lot of nice darker chrome, darker black accents. The Platinum's hot, guys. Like, in all honesty, after this TRD off-road, I don't even know if I'd buy a 4Runner TRD Pro. I may just do a Platinum with just a little bit bigger of tires and call it a day. I think that that would be such a cool vehicle. The interior of the Platinum, that blue, I didn't hate it. It actually looked way better in person than it did on the camera photos and stuff that I showcased for you guys in a video. So it actually looked way better in person. I really liked the Platinum interior. Tons of soft touch everywhere. Nice like faux wood accents and everything. It has heated seats in the back. My $73,000 Land Cruiser doesn't even have heated seats, and a 63, I think it's 63 or 64, whatever, Platinum 4Runner does. That's what I'm saying. A Platinum 4Runner would be the buy for a lot of people over the Land Cruiser as well. But Shay, thank you so much for the donation. I hope that answered your question. You can also go on to Toyota's configurator on their site, and they actually did a really good job of trying to get to a T the detail of all the vehicles. One thing to note too, that I did see at this event is that the TRD off-roads are actually coming with Falcon Wild Peak tires for non-hybrid versions. And then we have, it's coming from, I believe, Houston is going to be the main dealership for that. But we're still trying to figure it out. And then, where was I? Oh, go on Toyota's website as well. Their renders and stuff that they have for the vehicles are actually pretty good. Does the Land Cruiser have more interior room? Land Cruiser has, I feel like, more headroom than the 4Runner. Which one is roomier on the inside? I would say with Land Cruiser is probably a little bit more roomier on the inside than the 4Runner is. Does it have interior squeaks and rattles like the Tundra? I didn't hear any. We will, of course, long-term test a 4Runner. I plan to have it for over 6 months. I know when I say long-term test, people want me to have something for 5 years. That's not how it works in the YouTube world. With the Land Cruiser, I'm at least trying to have that for a full year to document things for you guys. I had my last TRD off-road Tacoma for about... Actually, that's coming up on a year now because I bought it in March. So that is a long time for YouTube content creators to keep a vehicle. There's some YouTube channels that I watch. People are in and out of cars freaking within a month. I don't even know if they make the first payment. But I did not hear any creaks and rattles out of it. It felt very solid like the Tacoma. Most likely even more solid because it is built in Japan. I know that Toyota has their... Kaizen approach and all this stuff to have the vehicles built the same wherever they are. We all know that Japan is built better. So it felt solid. It felt really solid. Even the TRD Pro 4Runner, they were prototypes and they were bashing the crap out of them on the off-road course. And, you know, it's all rattling around and stuff as you're driving. And then when you end the course, we were like just driving it off the course. Pretty quiet for the most part. And they didn't even air down the tires either. The tires weren't even aired down, which is absolutely crazy. They kept them at 35 PSI. So they were really, really rattling around. Holy crap, dude, Thomas. Bro, thank you so much, dude. You did not have to do this. I'm in the Everglades hunting pythons right now. You're a badass, dude. That's sick. How's the hybrid with low speed and idle driving? Is it jerky? So in all fairness to this, I wasn't able to kind of drive it in the city. And they were prototypes that we had. So, the transmissions, so the only hybrid that I really drove was the Trail Hunter. And the Trail Hunter was, on an off-road course all day going very slow. So when I off-roaded it on the off-road course, you know, just crawling with it, it didn't really feel that jerky at all. The low-end torque that it has was very good to get it up and going. I didn't feel at any points, like when I put it in a park or when I came to a stop, that it wanted to like lurch forward, which I have felt in the Tacoma and Land Cruiser. I don't recall it in the Trail Hunter at all. And then highway driving with it, you know, after the computer's trying to recalibrate itself, we left the venue. I got to a border crossing as well. And as I came to a stop, I don't recall it doing any lurching forward. Really, I don't even remember. Like, so for these hybrids, sometimes when you stop with them, there's like a little nudge, just a little nudge like that. So I don't recall it that bad in the hybrid. So I'm gonna say, and the crappy thing is too, is like a lot of these trucks are built different. Like I had a follower message me about his Tacoma TRD Pro that his transmission went out on it, unfortunately. And then they gave him a TRD Sport that was a hybrid, and it out of the box felt way more powerful than his Pro did from day one. So there may be early signs with the earlier models of Tacoma, with bad transmission issues. So honestly, the hybrids that I drove, both the TRD Pro and also Trail Hunter, they felt smooth in the quick environments that we got to use them in. Aside from that, I did not drive any other TRD Pros, unfortunately. Hybrids. Richard, thank you so much for the $2. I see Ryan answered your question, but I also see it here. It says, do they have an engine cover on the 6th gen? And Ryan is correct. They do not. It looks like a rat's nest as well. just like the Tacoma. So no engine covers at all, Richard. Thank you so much for the $2. Thomas, bro, I hope you find a Python, man. That is awesome. You must have like some Starlink or something going on, or maybe there's signal in the Everglades, but that's so cool. Thank you so much. And Sam, thank you so much as well for the 5. Says, hey, John, jumped in late onto the chat. I like the Platinum trim a lot. How is the ride quality versus the 5th gen? Do you think that the Platinum is the trim to buy? I think that the Platinum is the trim to buy. I really like the interior. I really like the exterior. And I think if you ditched the 20-inch wheels for like some 17s or 18s with a nice aggressive looking tire, but a soft tire because you're not going to take it off-road, I think that that would be so cool. I want to do a build like that so bad. After seeing the Platinum inside for the first time and doing stuff with it, so cool. Unfortunately, I did not get to drive the Platinum. I really wish I did, but I was not able to drive the Platinum. They only had one. They only had one Platinum for 15 creators, or 15, 20 creators, however many of us were there. And I was just on the off-road course a lot, doing a lot of walk-around videos, a lot of short form, taking photos for Facebook and everything. And that Platinum, the Platinum and the 2 SR5s were like the hot commodity. They were so hard to come by. So I still appreciate Toyota, obviously, for like flying me out, allowing me to get content for you guys to do this live stream with almost 300 people in it concurrent all the time. That's absolutely freaking awesome. So like, that's cool. I just wish that there were more cars and they were a little bit more prepared with cars for us, right? Like a couple more of each trim so we could really spend some time in each one. But I will have more hands-on time with the Platinum I hope at the DC Auto Show. I hope that it is there at the DC Auto Show. Guys, thank you so much for those freaking donations. I'm trying to catch back up. I know I missed some questions and stuff, so if you guys ask some questions and you're still in the live stream, please ask them again, because I'm just going back to about 20 minutes ago. We had a lot of donations, which I'm super thankful for, but I am skipping some questions now. So thank you guys so freaking much for the support. It is so cool. Hey, John, is the 4Runner 100% built in Japan? It is. It is 100% built in Japan at the same plant that this old girl was built at. The engine also shares a ton with the Grand Highlander, with the 2.4 in the Highlander, Grand Highlander, and also TX. That is 100% true. A good amount of the engine does support those vehicles as well, and I believe some other Lexus products too. So I mean, when you start factoring a lot of that stuff in, I just have a good feeling about the Tacoma, and the fact that just the truck itself is just built so much better as well than the Tundra, and it just, I don't know, like when there was the transmission issues, that sucks, right? And it was apparently a debris issue as well, and it was through ASIN, the transmission company. So Toyota and them, they figured it out, and the transmission should be good. So aside from that, I don't really know of any other powertrain issues that the Tacoma had. So hopefully, with these engines in a lot of different vehicles and also global too, they become like what the 22RE was of, the 80s, right? Hopefully this just becomes one of Toyota's most bulletproof engines ever. And maybe the only thing you have to worry about is replacing a turbocharger 400,000 or 500,000 miles in. I don't know, right? I can't speak into the future. If I would, I'd have a lot of money. Daniel says 5th gen had a 2.7 4-cylinder as an option in 2010. It was that is actually true. I do remember that. Horribly slow, and Toyota discontinued the option after the first year. I do remember that. Yeah, so that was an NA engine, and I think the reason that they did that is because the 2nd gen Tacoma also had that. I think they still rock that 2.4 even through the 3rd gen as well. But yes, it was just such a heavy engine. Is this made in Japan? It is made in Japan. Yep. I appreciate it, Rob. Most bad engines have bad engineering. Debris are from manufacturing, and that is 100% true as well. A lot of people are thinking, though, that the Tundra can't handle the engine can't handle the Tundra, I guess, but Toyota said that they built that engine up to do truck duty stuff. So hopefully it's not, something that was missed on the engineering side. Hopefully it is really, and we've seen proof of the debris and stuff and everything in them as well. So, and really aside from, I guess, one truck on Reddit, I think. There's only been one 2025. So it most likely was, only debris issues, unless there are eventually other 2025s that just start dropping, right? It should only be that. Can you feel the difference between the width of both vehicles? So I don't know what you're talking about, Dan. So I'm just going to compare it to the 5th gen 4Runner, if I can. It feels way better planted than the 5th gen 4Runner. I will say that this new 6th gen, with how they widen the wheelbase, lengthen the wheelbase a little bit, and also widen the track a little bit of that truck, it feels so much more planted than the 5th gen does. Again, I'm a baby when it comes to off-roading SUVs. I'd much rather off-road trucks. I just feel more comfortable with the longer wheelbase on them. I'm not the biggest fan of tippy situations. Call me a baby. I don't give a crap. I don't like tippy situations with SUVs. I just don't like it. This 6th gen 4Runner with that holy grail length that it is, it's the same as the GX, the Land Cruiser 300 series, the Prado, older Land Cruisers in the past. I believe it's 112 point something or whatever, 120 something, whatever. It's the holy grail, Toyota says, for their SUVs of wheel length. And it just feels, it felt so planted and so good on the ground. And even Ryan says that I still have my short block with debris in it. Yeah, so definitely debris for the Tundra stuff. Wait a few years, bro. Yep, people can wait for sure for the 4Runner as well to start to prove itself, right? They totally can. And dude, didn't even see these come through. Thank you so freaking much. 2 minutes ago, Joey and brother. Oh, you guys are the freaking best, man. Joey's jumping straight up to the top as well. Says, I have a 2012 4Runner TRD Off-Road Premium with 420, nice, 1,000 miles on it. And I'm thinking about a 6th gen. I will wait until 2026, letting them work out any issues. Would you go for the regular 4 turbo for long-term reliability versus the hybrid? So for me, I would probably go hybrid, honestly. And the reason for that is because the engine is the same and the transmission is pretty much the same. The hybrid actually has a bigger rear end too, just like the Tacoma, a 9.5-inch rear end. So it has a heavier duty rear end than that of the normal non-hybrid. And the only reason I say, that, I'm not saying that you're wrong with this, just trying to educate a little bit. It's a mechanically driven hybrid system, essentially. So I guess the parts to fail would be battery, would be the hybrid generator, and like the inverter. But aside from that, the engine is the same, the transmission's the same, a little bit bigger of a rear end, and the rest of the car seamlessly is pretty much the same. Toyota used nickel metal hydride batteries versus lithium, and the reason for that is they are recyclable, they're cheaper to replace in the future, and also they said longevity with them seems to be a bit better. So I wouldn't worry about the battery. Again, inside the transmission or in between the flywheel of the engine and the transmission tunnel is the electronic generator for that. So it's mechanically driven. I would just, in my mind think that that's part of the transmission. So there's not really that much, I guess on paper, to really go wrong if you're just thinking of big parts, right? So aside from that, I would, yes, 112.2 for the wheelbase. So, aside from that, I would say hybrid and just have fun with it while you have it. And then Ryan Gregg, brother, thank you so much for this. $28.65 for the Hot Wheels fun. Thank you so, so much. My mom, if you guys follow me on Instagram, my birthday was the other day, and she's been collecting Hot Wheels and stuff for me out in California. And I said, don't just send me every single one you get, like, oh, you buy one and send it. Like, you could just wait, or if I come home or something like that, I'll bring them back with me. And she sent me some cool ones. So I got a Land Cruiser one, the new Terra Trek one. I got that Land Cruiser. I got a Tunes Toyota Supra, so it's one of those short little chody ones. And then I got a super cool 3rd gen 4Runner, and it's like one of those big Hot Wheels. And it's like, thank you, Ryan, appreciate it, bro. And it's like it's very rare, honestly. Like, not that I'm looking for my mom to find these and I'm going to resell them. Like, they're all going to be on display in my office whenever the freaking toolbox gets there and I can finish my office. But unfortunately, in transit, which I have no idea how this happened because they were wrapped up super well, the plastic got busted on it. So this is a super expensive, like, retail on this Hot Wheels is like 30, and I think that the resell of it is like 80 or $100 or something like this for this specific Hot Wheels. And the freaking case got ruined. I was like, gosh dang it, in transit. It's nothing my mom did. She's very, very sweet about all that stuff. But yeah, crazy. Ryan, thank you so much for the 28, brother. And Dimitri as well, dude. You guys, I appreciate it. I truly, truly do. I do this channel for you all and myself because I enjoy it, right? And it pays bills, and I'm able to get cars and stuff and showcase this stuff for you guys and talk on a live stream on is today Tuesday or Wednesday? On a Tuesday night with 280 people in here. Like, that is so, so cool. And I don't want fame out of this. I just like talking with people, hanging out, BSing and all that stuff. And it is just so, so cool. So Dimitri, thank you so much. He says great job as well, dude. I appreciate all your guys' support. I truly do hope that everyone, and this isn't getting political at all, I truly do hope that everyone, just with it being a new year, new potential things on the horizon and stuff, I hope everyone is just like super successful this year and does everything that they want to do, and don't let anyone tell you that you can't do something, or like, oh, maybe you shouldn't. Like, listen to yourself. Go do it, dude. Like, I got out of the military, and while I wouldn't trade those 9 years for anything, I feel like it really did set me and my wife up for like our future and our path that we're on now. I just want everyone to do what they want to do, man. Just do what you want to do. Take some risks. Be smart. Take some risks and have just an incredible year, and just whatever you guys want to do. Like, it's just awesome. For you guys to donate like $1, I truly, truly appreciate. Like, no matter what, even if we hit 500,000 subscribers in the future and we have a live stream and one person donates $1, dude, I'm going to be so thankful. But the fact that people are donating $20 and Ryan just bought me like my next 20 Hot Wheels, it's like so freaking cool. You guys are so awesome. I truly do appreciate it. Josh says, is Platinum kind of like a nightshade? I would actually say yes, which will be weird if Toyota brings that to the Limited. I really thought that Toyota would bring a Limited nightshade to the Tacoma for 2025, but maybe they'll do that for 26. I would say that is a good way to think about it. The Platinum has some very cool dark accents to it, and then even as you come into the interior, that's what I really like about the Platinum as well. So I was kind of like, I don't know, why is the Platinum a thing for the 4Runner? But it's weirdly one of my favorite trims, honestly. The Pro's cool, it's badass. Trail Hunter, I actually like the 4Runner Trail Hunter a bit more than the Tacoma Trail Hunter. And, you know, the off-road, the sports, they're going to be good 4Runners for people. But for me, the Platinum, just like, it's something unique. I just really, really like it. The interior that they did, it's really cool. Isn't the hybrid motor used to start the vehicle? I believe you're right in that as well. So I guess in the sense of parts failing, it would be like the starter of a 4Runner. Like, how long is your actual starter good for? And I would assume that the hybrid starter is a little bit, you know, beefier because the truck's always shutting off. It's turning on and shutting off. So I would assume that would be beefier. SNN says, John, how is the cargo area on the new 4Runner versus the 5th gen? I feel, it's about the same, except for when you get into the hybrid. Obviously, the hybrids are a little bit less than the normal ones, just because of the battery packs back there. But when we get my TRD off-road, and I'm going to go back to the poll to see what you guys said, 78% now are saying, man, TRD off-road premium. Dang it, that's more money. But really, it's I think the off-road premium is really, it's expensive. It is expensive, but for like $6,000 more, like if it's just the base, you get a lot of features. Like, there are a lot of features missing on the TRD off-road, in my opinion. But when I make that video and explain to you guys why I'm thinking about this TRD off-road versus the premium, it may juice some people up. Like, I'll still do it, certain things with it, but not everything. My biggest thing is transferring the bumper from this Tacoma onto the 4Runner. And that other 4Runner is black. This is black. So if it works, it would be good for content and good for photos, but there's still no reason why we can't take this bumper off and still put it on the blue 4Runner. And then the blue 4Runner has more features and stuff too. So I'll explain all that in the video. It may just go up late tonight after this, since everyone seems to be hanging out. We may see. But yeah, that is one of the reasons why I am doing that. And I believe I am caught up with donations. I am very certain I am. Dimitri, thank you so much. Ryan, thank you so much. Joey, I did talk with Joey and Sam here too. Yes, okay, we're good. We're good. ORP or limited? Limited for quality of an interior. You get the soft touch materials where Toyota fumbled and did not put those soft touch materials onto the TRD Off-Road Premium, which is, I don't understand why. Even with the Tacoma, that's my complaint with the Tacoma Off-Road Premiums as well. But the biggest thing is, are you going to off-road it or not? A good comment was, hey, I think I want to go with the limited with the all-wheel drive. That's cool. If you just want an all-wheel drive or a full-time four-wheel drive vehicle, the limited is definitely the way to do it. Whereas the off-road premium, it may hold a little bit value more because the 4Runner, you know, is known for off-road. It's known for kind of its overlandy scene. So it may hold its value just a little bit more than the limited over time if you're looking to resell. But if you're looking for bang for your buck, quality interior with actual, you know, soft touch materials all over the place and stuff, the limited is nice. Also too, if you like the color matched fenders as well versus black fenders and stuff, I think that the limited is a pretty good option to do. All right, gonna skip a couple. Is a removable speaker on all trims. It is only on those trims with the JBL sound system, so more of the premium trims. Do you think that the limited is the best trim for on-road experience? Unfortunately, I was not able to drive it. My favorite one that I did drive on-road was the TRD Sport, actually. The suspension of the TRD Sport was really nice and planted. It had very minimal, honestly, body roll. Now, I didn't yank the steering wheel, but I just kind of went like this, and it's an SUV, so it did move a little bit, but it did not move as much as the Trail Hunter. And then also with the TRD Sport, it didn't have that much brake dive, which is nice. And that is a big thing that the 5th gen has as well, is that brake dive. Any idea of the step in height of the Pro, lower seat to ground measurement? I do not, John. I am sorry about that. I'm pissed at myself because I brought my tape measure. I flew with a tape measure in my carry-on from Florida to California, and I left it in my freaking room. So I did not get any measurements for you guys, and I feel like a dick. I apologize, but I completely forgot that, and I'm so sorry. But I had it in my bag, and I forgot to do those measurements for everyone because there were a lot of comments of people wanting measurements, and I did not get that, and I apologize. But I did get SR5, 3-row. We got TRD Off-Road versus TRD Off-Road Premium, which that video just went up today. We have the TRD Pro stuff. We got Trail Hunter. I got MPG driving. Got TRD Sport driving impressions. And then I'll just talk in here about the TRD Off-Road and the hybrid of it because I rode in that. I did not drive it out there, but I rode in it out there with Brian. And it just felt fine. It felt fine and comfortable. He said that it had a good amount of power. He's not a fan of the 4-cylinder engines. Just he likes his GX with a V8, so he's not a fan of the 4-cylinder engines. But he said he was surprised with how much power the hybrids have. So he just doesn't like that they're 4 cylinders. Sturo Man says, isn't the hybrid oh, I already got that one. SFeb, how's it going, man? It says, I had a hybrid since 2007, and it's been super reliable with over 200,000 miles. When the hybrid part failed, it becomes a brick, only fixed by the dealers. I would skip on it for off-roading reliability. That's true, too. You know, when it fails, it fails. So, I mean, that's the same, too, if your turbo boot blows off or the turbo goes out. So, I mean, there are definitely more moving parts with these vehicles. But, I mean, 200,000 miles, while that's not 500,000 miles, it's still a lot. Still a lot for sure. What do you think about this new 4Runner reliability? I hope that it stays, man. I hope it stays. It has big, big shoes to fill from the 5th gen. That powertrain has been out forever. It's bulletproof, man. So I think that has big shoes to fill for sure. So time will tell. I have faith because this engine is not only in the Tacoma behind me, but it's in Land Cruiser. It's in a ton of other vehicles and stuff too, across the board, from Lexus, Grand Highlander version of it. So hopefully, it will be good over time. How about the Platinum Edition? Love the Platinum. It is so good. Kodiaks, how's it going, man? Hope you're still in here. We are about 9 minutes behind now on the comments. So 270 people in here. Appreciate you guys so much. If you guys could leave a like too on this so people can see it after the fact as well. Truly appreciate you guys. I don't ask people to subscribe. If you guys like, someone's content, you subscribe anyways. But I do ask if you guys can leave a like, because that does help out the algorithm a lot with any videos. Any content creators you guys like the video. And if you hate the video, leave a thumbs down, but leave in the comments some good constructive criticism for the creator. Kodiak says, hey John, 2025 4Runner Platinum or 23 Lexus GX 460 V8 for the wife. Not serious off-roader. We both dislike the rear window / door on the GX. That naturally aspirated V8 though is the deciding factor. Better reliability on the V8 for sure. Proven reliability, right? It is a gamble with the new 4Runner, because it is unproven. So I think that these GXs, I think that you'll be safe on a GX to have it for a couple years for resale value, because it is a V8, right? And the new GXs are great, honestly, but they are hard to come by. So older GXs are holding their value a little bit. Not really sure when that will plateau and kind of fall off. So you kind of got to see the market and stuff. So I would say if you're uncertain right now, I would just go with the GX, go with the proven one, go with the available one too, and just ride that out for a little bit until we start to see these 4Runners in people's hands, seeing issues with them, seeing how quick Toyota is to fix them and stuff, and then maybe move from that to the Platty Daddy, So I really want a Platinum 4Runner. I'll probably have one eventually, but there are so many cars to buy in the future. It's kind of ridiculous. DL says, well said, man. No, I appreciate that, guys. Everyone just has to work hard for what you want. You are like the main change in your life. And I was down, a couple months ago and stuff, and started eating bad again and got off my diet, and our cat died, and that was a spiral, and it was just bad, and it's so quick to just say, oh, the world's against me, instead of saying, no, dude, you have like your own control with everything. I was in the Air Force, Justin. I appreciate it. I was a F-16 aircraft avionics, integrated avionics technician. So pretty much everything on the F-16 that allowed the pilot to fly, communicate, lock onto targets, kill, all that stuff. I was the mechanic for that. So his radar, emergency countermeasure systems, all that stuff, I fixed for them. So integrated avionics is everything on such a small platform too. It's so small, and they have wires all over the place in that jet. It's kind of crazy. So that is what I did for probably 5 of the 9 years of the Air Force. 1-ish year was kind of training and learning everything, in a year and a half or so, until you really get to go on your own and do stuff. And then I was in the vault too with secret stuff for the last 2 years of my career. Laura says, 25 4Runner or new Land Cruiser? After driving the 4Runner, guys, this is a great question, Laura. I would pick 4Runner. And while I do enjoy the Land Cruiser, if I was at that price range of Land Cruiser, I would just naturally go to GX. I don't think, and I'll say this again because I'm not sure when people came in on this live stream and stuff, I am very curious how long the 1958 will be a trim level for the Land Cruiser, just because you could get a Tier D off-road premium 4Runner with a hybrid for less than a 1958 Land Cruiser. And the 1958 Land Cruiser is very bare bones, cloth seats, which if people like that, totally fine. Smaller screen, all this stuff, no moonroof. And they're already, the 1958 Land Cruisers are the ones when people say, oh, lot rot, the Land Cruisers aren't selling. They've sold a lot of Land Cruisers. They've sold more Land Cruisers this year than I think like the last 2 or 3 years of the 200 series in America. So they're selling a lot. And that's not me defending Toyota. Just look at the numbers. But the 1958s are the ones that are sitting on lots a little bit more. And I think once the 4Runner starts to come out and people start to see that they could get more options and stuff, and that's what a lot of people care about for the same price, I think people are going to flock towards the 4Runner. And I can't speak for Toyota, but I really see the Land Cruiser potentially falling to just one trim, just the Land Cruiser. Maybe that was their thought process all along. I don't know. But it will go to just the Land Cruiser, and then you can just have Land Cruiser and Land Cruiser Premium. And that would be the only gap between 4Runner and then Sequoia, because the Land Cruiser is a little bit bigger. Land Cruiser is a little bit bigger than the 4Runner. Nice higher roof line and all that stuff. Royce, I appreciate you, man. Luis, how's it going? Says, I do wish that the 4Runner could have had a capstone trim. To be honest, I do agree with that. That would be cool. But I felt like the Platinum trim inside the 4Runner was just as luxurious as a Sequoia Platinum or a capstone, honestly. Like, it still had the kind of fake wood grain and stuff in the doors. It had the soft touch materials where you needed them. It even had it on the glove box and everything. All the materials felt premium in that car. And it had heated seats in the back, which I think the Sequoia capstone has heated and ventilated seats, I think, in the back. But I do like the... Sorry, I think I missed a question that I meant to ask, but I apologize if I missed it. But the captain's chairs in the Sequoia are so much better. Same poll against premium. Asturo, I think you were the question that I missed. I apologize. If you're still in here, ask it again. I hope I'm not getting sick, dude. I'm gonna be so pissed. Cam says, hey John, does the Tacoma/4Runner hybrid make the same loud whining noise like the RAV4 hybrid? So we used to call that for our RAV4 like it's an angel, because it's like, oh, just backing up. It's very tame on these vehicles, and since it's not like a big hybrid system, 9 times out of 10, like when you turn on the vehicle, it doesn't really shut off until the battery's kind of like charged up a little bit. So like if you turn on the vehicle for the most part and then you put it in reverse, the engine's going. So these with idle aren't hybrid like the RAV4s and stuff, which those RAV4s, they're such a good vehicle. Actually, I got an email about spy photos for the new 2026 RAV4. So I'm debating back and forth because I'm flying out if I'm going to pay for those photos or not, because they're good. They're very good. He's a talented photographer, but it's not anything that we haven't seen. So I don't know if I'm going to pay for them. But it is not as loud as the RAV4 is. Platinum resale will be significantly less than TRD Pro and Trail Hunter. They are only $4K more to buy new. Yeah, so I agree with that. The Pros and the Trail Hunters, like always, will most likely, well, I shouldn't say the Trail Hunter like always, but the Pro most likely will hold a better resale value for sure than the Platinums. Most of the time, luxurious grades like that, they are first to kind of like fall when resale value and stuff comes up. We're going to blow through a couple comments real quick. Traditional starters present on the 4Runner hybrid and also Tacoma hybrid. So there you go. It also has a traditional starter. Thank you, Ryan. Why they didn't add aux switches to the TRD off-road and the premium like the Tacoma. Again, I think that this is due to a shortage issue. Same with the sway bar disconnects and stuff. The sway bar disconnect is now an option for Land Cruiser. It's not standard. So I don't understand why that doesn't have it. Kind of frustrating because now it's only on the Pro and the Trail Hunter, whereas it should be on a TRD off-road because it is on the Tacoma. This is a freaking Pro behind me, but TRD Sport versus SR5. Honestly, the TRD Sport drove very good on road, but if you're looking at just the base models, I would probably just spend a little bit less and go for the SR5, honestly, because you don't really get that much more in the TRD Sport aside from like heated seats and I believe a heated steering wheel. And you get the nice premium taillights on it, color matched bits. So appearance-wise, the TRD Sport is nice. But on the interior, I would rather just have a black interior from an SR5, call it a day, maybe even a third row, four-wheel drive, and be significantly cheaper than the TRD Sport counterpart. Oregon says, thank you for the coverage on the 4Runner, John. Hey, you guys are welcome, man. I like doing these live streams after the event just because it's easier to just whatever you guys want to talk about, right? And some people like to listen to this after the fact too. So it's whatever questions come up, and it's me talking like on the cusp, like just being real. Like whatever comes to my head first is what I say. It's not me, which also I guess the videos are what comes first, is what you guys see. I don't edit like around a whole bunch of stuff. But when you guys ask the questions, what do you think, John? And then we talk about it. That's what I like doing more than, hey, here's how the drive event was. And then you guys just watch a video and get bored of it, whatever. Sequoia Capstone has heated and ventilated in the rear. Okay, gotcha. Cripple Creek up in here says, take care, John. Love all your reviews and the modifications for the channel. I appreciate that, man. Once I get back from the LX700 drive event, it's modification city, man. I am sitting on way too many mods, and it's honestly making me sick how little time I've had to try to do them. And then again, with having some just not really feeling like doing stuff, mental thoughts and whatnot, I am ready. I want to go to DC so bad, review more cars for you guys, go to this Lexus Drive event, drive the LX, right? But I just want to get back home and just mods, get the new 4Runner, mods. The trailer will get here. Stuff from Iron Man Off-Road will get here to build up the trailer. Let's go camping. Let's do this. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome, and I cannot freaking wait. Heritage Blue or Cavalry Blue, or about the same? I honestly... Shh. Close your ears. Close your ears. It's okay. Close your ears. I like Heritage Blue a little better than Cavalry Blue. It's okay, girl. It's okay. It's okay. Cavalry Blue is more of a blue. So this 4Runner by itself right now, I love it. I love it. But when you stack it up next to a Heritage Blue, the Heritage Blue has a little bit more gray kind of vibe to it and stuff. So I guess I like that just a little bit more than Cavalry Blue, because when you put Cav Blue and Heritage Blue right next to each other, this thing is very blue, which, again, I like it, but I just think that Heritage Blue just, I feel looks just a little bit better, personally. What other YouTuber coverage of the new 4Runner will you be watching, and why? I like to see what Toyota Jeff has to say sometimes. Definitely going to watch the Throttle House dudes. I met both of them actually at this recent event and stuff. They were having breakfast and stuff, and I introduced myself to them. So they're very, very nice individuals. So Throttle House, always love their content, so I'll be watching their stuff. I rode with Talon Sai in the TRD Pro, so I'm going to be in his videos, and he's a super solid dude. So I'm going to watch his videos as well, because I make some cameos in his videos. And Tim Esterdahl, Pickup Truck Plus SUV Talk. I like see what Tim has to say. He's a character. And just other people that I've met at the events. There's so many. Kirk Kreifels, I like watching his stuff. Kirk's a good dude. We text and stuff. He's a really nice guy. So I just like seeing people's things. And then short form content, you know, Omar Drives, Pushing Pistons, all those dudes are just so cool. It's awesome. Like I've gotten to meet all these guys, you know, the TFL dudes. Andre was there. He wasn't on my wave, but he was on a different wave as well. So curious what they have to say about it too. So if I find time to watch people's videos, I'm still shifting through or shifting through all of my work as well, and all my videos that I have to do for the vehicle too. So there'll probably just be a couple more videos, and then maybe I'll just, because everyone will be 4Runnered out, maybe I'll just keep my stuff for a little bit later. in the month or something like that. Air Force, very cool. I was thinking about getting FAA Part 107 certified for drones. Farmers use LiDAR to study health of their crops. It's a very interesting to me. Heard bad stuff about DJI though. Yeah, so what people don't like about DJI is that it's made in China, right? So their drones, their quality of product is just so good. I don't know if there's spyware in it. I don't know if there's spyware in this freaking laptop that from Apple that was made in China. I don't know if there's spyware in my Tacoma from parts that were made in Japan or China or anything like that, right? Like, we don't know. But yes, DJI is a Chinese brand. But drones and all that stuff, man, that is the way of the future for sure, for a lot of stuff, for surveying, for crops things, surveillance and whatnot too. So I do see us getting some more American drone things, especially with this presidency as well. So maybe that would be an avenue to take as well once that's done. So I'm going to go up to the top a little bit because I did skip some of these questions. Hey, John, does the Tacoma/4Runner? Oh, I already read that. Let's see where the poll is at, what you guys are saying. We're still at 77% right now, I think, with the live stream. I'm pretty sure that is live because the chat is live. I did pause myself so I don't have to hear myself. But that is crazy. So a lot of you guys want to see an off-road premium, huh? Would not have guessed that, honestly. I wish I could do polls in a video. I would love to know the width of the cargo area. I've only seen the depth. Yes, I brought Phoenix I brought my tape measure, and I messed up, and I did not get the measurements of it because I left my tape measure in my hotel room. The 25 4Runner looks very bulky. Looking that it's wider than the Broncos. I don't think that it is wider than the Broncos. It may be, but it is a little bit wider than this 5th gen. Thanks for making these live streams and your content. John, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Hello, how's it going? AP says, thoughts on how much, if any, hit to the resale value of newer 5th gen. So I think that the 5th gen 4Runners, they're going to hold their value for a little bit. They're going to kind of plateau a little bit, and they're going to hold their values just like the 3rd gen Tacomas are for the most part, just like the 2nd gen Tundras definitely are because the 3rd gen Tundras had issues. So 2nd gen Tundras are really holding their values. So I think that 5th gen 4Runners will hold their values. They're not going to like skyrocket in price. People are like, oh, my value just went up. I mean, maybe a little bit from what it was, but it's not going to like jump through the roof, right? Until the 4Runner is maybe a year to 2 years old, starts proving itself. If it doesn't really have any issues the first year, people are going to be like, okay, this is cool, especially for a first-year vehicle. So we'll see. We will see. MX5 says, are you still running the Westcott Pro Lift on your 4Runner? I am. I actually, though, will potentially be swapping out the suspension. Ironman just came out with a 2.5 kit, monotube suspension, which does give it a little bit of a lift. And not that there's a lot of miles on this suspension. It's about 40,000 miles. It is older, about 8 years old almost now. So, or the 4Runner will turn 8 years old this year. So I'm going to probably swap that out to see how some brand new suspension feels under her. Do you think that the Land Cruiser will come in a Trail Hunter trim in the future? That would be cool. Could you imagine a Trail Hunter Land Cruiser all done up, and especially if Everest comes to the Land Cruiser lineup? My God. Such a good color. Such a good color. I'm going to text my wife real quick to bring me my water because my throat is killing me. Bring me my water, please. Thank you guys so much for being here. We're going to go the full 2 hours, so 20 more minutes, and then we will see where we're at. John, will you be interviewing Sheldon again? The next time I may have the opportunity to do an interview with Sheldon, unless like he has time and I could set it up, would probably be for Tundra Refresh maybe, because he is in charge. Thank you. He is in charge of all that stuff. So, oh, wow, I'm a lot further on this than I thought.
That's why I thought you didn't grab it.
Well, my throat's gone now. Thank you. maybe he will come back to the States for Tundra refresh. So that may be the next time that I get to see him, unless he does have some spare time. Maybe we could set up an interview to see how Tacoma's doing and stuff right now, what big hurdles they saw for the first year, what they could see moving forward and everything too. That may be cool to set up, but I know he is very focused on these trucks and everything right now, making sure that they're good. So I don't like to impose on people sometimes, but maybe the next time we do get to see him is with Tundra refresh, which hopefully will be in the next year or so. SNN says, how much shared parts are between the Land Cruiser versus Tacoma and 4Runner? I actually like that they share a bit and will be easy to get parts. Yeah, so powertrain-wise, there's a lot of shared components, right? TNGF platform, a good amount of stuff too on it as well. But as for interior bits, granted, the 4Runner is made in Japan. A lot of the stuff is sourced from Asia as well, compared to the Tacoma, where a lot of the parts are sourced from North America. I think that it would be very easy to get stuff for the Tacoma and also 4Runner. But Land Cruiser, it's just parts for the engines and everything. Pricing was announced in December. For what? John, I'm late too. Did you drive a Trail Hunter? Does the high mount intake whistle loudly like the Tacoma? So I don't feel like it did. And I asked a couple other people and stuff. I was like, hey, what did you think about the 4Runner's snorkel and everything? And they're like, oh, it was loud. And I was like, really? Because I drove the Trail Hunter for an hour all the way back home or to the hotel that I was staying at. And you could hear it like suck a little bit of air, but I kind of just droned it out after 30 minutes. And it honestly didn't bother me at all. I had the radio on and everything, listening to music. And I, for some reason, feel like it's not as loud as the Tacoma. I don't know if there's some sound deadening or some sort of materials in the intake tube or wherever else, but I didn't feel, maybe it was placebo, I don't know, but I did not feel that it was as loud as the Tacoma. Sorry, I missed the beginning, John. All good. I appreciate you guys for just showing up. You don't have to watch the whole things. I appreciate everyone coming into this live stream. Says, sorry I missed it, and hopefully you are still in here because this was from 15 minutes ago. How are your thoughts on the base non-hybrid engine? It was good. It was exactly what I thought it was going to be. A little bit underpowered compared to the hybrid, but it moved the vehicle perfectly fine. You could get to highway speeds perfectly fine. Good passing power because of that eight-cylinder, people wish, because of the 8-speed transmission. You're always in peak torque with it as well while you're cruising. It whines a little bit, right? It revs out just a little bit to get up and go. It sounds louder than it actually is. But one thing, I don't feel like the 4Runner had fake engine noise, unless these were just prototype models that didn't have them. But this TRD Pro Tacoma, the fake engine noise is very apparent. I don't recall hearing it in the TRD Pro 4Runner. So maybe the Japanese, when they were, because the chief engineer of 4Runner is actually Japanese, and I did not get a chance, unfortunately, to actually interview with him there. I was doing other things, and I just didn't set aside time from that, which I do regret. I wish I was able to talk with him about some stuff. But I did not hear fake engine noise at all. Any word on Trump putting a tariff on Japan products yet? Nothing yet. They haven't pissed him off. So Japan, as of right now, is tariff-free. So we should be good, guys, with the prices on 4Runners moving forward, hopefully. So we will see. Ryan says, I had mods for my second-gen Tacoma still new in the box from 10 years ago. Dude, that's how I feel right now. My oldest mod that I'm... Actually, it's probably these sliders and the roof rack from Westcott Designs for the Land Cruiser, just because they came damaged from shipping, and then I waited a little bit for Westcott to send me a touch-up bottle and everything, and then I wanted to make content of that, and then I was waiting to take the Land Cruiser to the dealership. That way, they were like, oh, well, your wind noise is coming from this roof rack, so I had to wait for that, and then now that's been a couple months, so I feel like crap, right? That, parts sit here, and then next thing you know, you're like, holy crap, it's been a week. So you guys are going to see a lot of content, and I don't like just doing install after install. We'll try to do a good blend of everything, but there's a lot of parts to install, and the supercharger is coming for the Tundra hopefully soon. I know I feel like I've been talking about that forever, but it sucks when you have to wait on parts and stuff. So the Tundra will come back into the scene as well with the supercharger, audio system for that, and a couple other mods too before we eventually kind of let the Tundra fall off on the channel and I just have it. It's paid off, whatever, it's done. And then that truck's future will be a full luxury pre-runner with Westcott Designs. Toyota donated $1 million to his inauguration day fund. So maybe they're like, hey, don't tariff us, Daddy Trump. So that's cool. $1 million, that's awesome. But yeah, there were a lot of companies that were donating to his inauguration fund for sure. But yeah, as of right now, I mean, like, I just see those tariffs as not like a horrible thing, honestly. Like, it will kind of potentially suck in like the beginning for how things work, but like, he's basically been using them as threats, man. I mean, look at the president of Colombia. Like, oh, we'll send you our jet, like, to take everyone back. That's crazy. Like, they've just kind of been like threats lately to get stuff done. And even before World War II, you know, and the world wars and stuff, like, the United States, we did not have state income or federal income tax at all. And we had a lot of tariffs. So we'll see, man. We will see how everything works out, you know. Hey, John, thanks for the information regarding the 6th Gen 4Runner. Did you know that the 4Runner cousins oversees the Fortuner / or like the Tacoma cousin oversees the Hilux? I did, and I am very curious as to what the next Gen Fortuner is going to look like compared to the new 4Runner as well. Because the Fortuner overseas was kind of always like a Prado, right? It was kind of a Prado-esque, but it was Toyota vibes as well. So I am curious with the 250 series Land Cruiser, you know, Prado, how the Fortuner is going to be a little bit. So I'm very interested to see when that comes out. Is the second row a little bit more cramped height-wise, leg-wise than the current or in the 4Runner versus the Land Cruiser? Yes, the Land Cruiser to me has more height room for sure than the Land Cruiser does. Or the Land Cruiser has more height room for sure than the 4Runner does. I don't think that Kai was at this event, and I'm not sure about the car care nut. Kai, guys, his videos are incredible. He is so detailed, and his videos are like how Mark Rober was on YouTube for a while, because he was still kind of like doing his NASA job and everything. And he's an engineer. For those of you who don't know who Mark Rober is, he's a engineering channel on YouTube. Very good videos. But there's type of, and I don't care that I'm this type of YouTube creator. I like to get you guys the information fast, but not in like a half-assed kind of way. Like, I still like to have good audio, good video, give you guys good B-roll if possible, and just give you guys the information right away. Then there's other creators like Kai and the Car Care Nut who can put out a 30-plus minute video and you watch the whole thing because they are very detailed. They know what they're talking about. I'm not trying to be fake and say, oh yeah, well, like Kai's recent video with his Tundra, talking about tire scrub and all that. Dude knows what he's talking about. Me, yo, these bigger tires are sick. I had to do this to clear it out. If this is what you guys want to do to mimic it, here it is. Kai will tell you that I messed up because I put way too big of an offset on the vehicle and it's not practical. And that's how his videos are. And that's the beauty of YouTube, is that people can have a range of content creators that they watch for certain things. I don't expect people to watch every single one of my videos, right? But if they're like, oh, John has the news for this, I'm going to watch his video, give him a thumbs up and say, hey, John, thanks. Peace out. See you at the next one. Cool. Like, that's why YouTube is free. And that's why I absolutely love YouTube. And when people come to comments and like complain that I had like a Factor ad, which by the way, you guys can get Factor, use code 50TRD to save 50% at Factor. They get pissed about a minute ad like read real quick. It's like, bro, I'm giving you 18 meals potentially for $100. Like, why are you complaining about that? And if you don't like it, skip. YouTube's free. It's crazy. But sorry, that was a rant, Snorlax. I don't know if the car care nut was invited. And I don't think that Kai went. I asked Kai if he was going, and he said no. So I'm not sure. Tinker and his tire content patch for tires is incredible. Yeah, all of his videos are good. But anyways, what I was getting at is he is one of those creators who he doesn't give you a video like every single week or like a couple a week like I do, you know. But when he gives you a video, you watch the video because you know it's going to be very good. Willito, what's up, man? How's it going? With a $10 donation. I appreciate it so much. Dude, the donations for this live stream have been incredible. You guys are so freaking awesome. I love first drive event live streams because the chat comes out, everyone hangs out, we all have a good time, and I truly, truly freaking appreciate it. But Willito says, absolutely heritage blue. Can't wait for you to get it. We need to be very appreciative of your content. Okay, I read that right. You teach us whether a Toyota model is right for us. Thank you, brother. Bro, thank you so much for that donation. I hope you're not upset about my Land Cruiser video that I did. You could let me know in another comment. Not a paid comment. Just comment. I will read it. If you got like a little upset with my gripes on the Land Cruiser. I am curious if you watched the video or not. But like if you thought some of those dislikes were justified. Because, you know, there's some people that are like, hey, those issues don't bother me. Totally cool. Totally cool. And it's all good if it doesn't bother certain people. But like for me, there's just certain things with the Land Cruiser that I'm kind of like, when I was talking about the storage for the Land Cruiser, it didn't even dawn on me. There's no freaking sunglasses holder, right? And we like to wear sunglasses or driving glasses, reading glasses, whatever. And there's no sunglasses holder anywhere in that car. So when I was talking about storage, like that's a big thing to where I dislike the available storage in the Land Cruiser. So to some people, that's not a deal breaker. To other people, they may not have been like, oh, what the heck? There's that spot on the steering wheel. I don't like that at all. This may not be the car for me. I don't know. Not that a steering wheel will make it or break it. But Willito, thank you so freaking much, man. I truly, truly appreciate it. F says predictions for Tundra refresh styling options. I'm going to think that it is a 2027 model. I think that they're going to go a full 5 years of the current gen Tundra. So we may get a teaser of it soon, or spy photos maybe will start coming through. I don't know. But I think that we're going to have a 2026 of the same truck. And then it may be after that. I could be wrong. I feel like they'll go a full 5 years, or maybe only 4. I'm not 100% sure yet. But regardless, I will be getting one to see if it's worth it. I may also get another third-gen Tundra as a 25 or a 26, even though I said I'm done with the third gen until they do a refresh. I want to see if like 3-4 years into the model, if there's still issues that I had with my very first Tundra. Because in all fairness, right, even though I sold the 2022 and I bought a 2023, that 23 was still a very early model to where it was built, I think, in February of 23. So it was a very early model. Might as well have been essentially a 2022. So if we get a 25 or a 26 Tundra, I most likely will just do a hybrid, maybe a TRD Pro, so it holds its value a little bit better, and roll it into a 26 model. Or 26 model, a new model, because I'll either buy it in 25 or 26. Any differences, unless it's a 26 model, then I'll buy a 25. Any differences in suspension between TRD Pro, 4Runner, and Tacoma? So the suspension of the 4Runner is different than Tacoma. It's still the same Fox QS3 shocks, but the 4Runner spring rate is definitely different than the Tacoma. The TRD Pro 4Runner also does not have hydraulic bump stops in the back. It only has normal bump stops. And also the Tacoma suspension, so like if you're looking at Kings, Icon, whatever, for the Tacoma to just buy for your 4Runner, it's not going to work. The 4Runner's top hats are the same as the Tacoma, and its lower mounting points mimic that of the Land Cruiser. So it's a completely different shock strut than the Tacoma. The spring rates are different and everything, and it does feel different than the Tacoma while off-road. John, do you know if there are any aftermarket headlights yet for the Land Cruiser? I have not seen any. I am waiting though for like Alpha X or Morimoto or someone to say, hey, here are round headlights for the Land Cruiser if you guys wanted round headlights, or hey, here's some cool rectangular headlights. Let's see if Willito said anything. He did not. Yeah, so my Platinum Tundra, Ryan knows all my shit from all my cars. Yes, so yeah, so my Tundra was built in 2023. So essentially like a very, early model 23, essentially like, I mean, I wouldn't say a late model 22 because it is technically a 2023, but it's a very, very early model 2023. So, again, not that I hate my V8 Tundra. I don't hate it, but it's not as I'm just gonna say it. It's not as good as everyone like made it up to be. I guess maybe I'm just new Toyota pilled. I don't know, but like when I get in my 4Runner, I don't feel like I'm truly stepping back in time, and I don't feel like it's that archaic. I mean, it's old, but like the V8 Tundra, at least the TRD Pro that I got, maybe I should have just got a platinum one. I don't know. It's just so lacking in just basic features and stuff. And I just think that the build plans that I have for that truck now to just be a fun desert pre-runner will be perfect for it. So I do truly miss the third gen Tundra. I just, and not that I miss the trucks. I had issues with mine. I just miss having a modern full-size truck. Maybe we'll get a Raptor. I don't know. We'll see. So Tundra 5.7 supercharger is better. TRD Pro. We will be putting the supercharger on that Tundra. I bought it. I thought that the third gen, it was going to be a road trip vehicle. It's going to be great for the family and stuff. It was kind of uncomfortable. Gets just crap gas mileage, no matter if you baby it or not. It's just not good. Which, whatever, it's a truck, it's a V8. That's not what you buy the truck for. But like, even babying it, I just don't get great gas mileage. Around town and stuff here, I enjoy driving it. But like on longer road trips and stuff, I kind of don't. John, thank you so much for being a member. I truly appreciate it. Says, first impressions, how do you compare your current Land Cruiser to the 6th Gen 4Runner? So, comparing the hybrids, it's kind of like the Tacoma hybrid. The 4Runner and Tacoma hybrid feel a little bit more peppy. They feel more amped up and ready to go. The Land Cruiser feels a tiny bit more refined, but it's a little lackluster to drive. It's still plenty powerful, but it's a little lackluster to kind of drive, just around town and stuff. The 4Runner felt great, felt very smooth. The quality of materials, even though, there are a little bit more plastic for sure in the lower end trims than this 5th gen behind me. The materials felt great. The seats were comfortable, because if you guys have sat in a 5th gen 4Runner, you're like, ooh, these are comfortable seats. The seats were pretty comfortable in the new 4Runner. You definitely sit down a little bit more in it compared to the Land Cruiser. The Land Cruiser, I feel like you sit up in a little bit more upright. It's a bit taller of a vehicle too. So they're definitely different. They're definitely different. And the 4Runner as well is different than the Tacoma. They did not feel identical. I went into that event thinking that the Tacoma was going to feel identical to the 4Runner, and it doesn't. A Trail Hunter Land Cruiser would be cool for sure. Does the Land Cruiser feel roomier than the 6th gen? It does. It does. A little bit more headroom too. Justin says new Land Cruiser is a Land Cruiser Prado in the Middle East, Australia, Africa, all those places. They also have the Land Cruiser 300 series. Here, the 300 series would be $1 million. Do you think that the Land Cruiser 100 series or 200 series is better? Personally, I like the 200 series. I'm not really the biggest fan of the looks of the 100 series. I really like the 200 series, especially a nice, cool, built-out one. I think it looks really, really cool. Did the TRD Pro have sound deadening material under the hood? It did. Even the TRD Off-Road Premiums had sound deadening under the hood as well. How is the interior of the Platinum? It's not as blue as it looks in photos. It's understated. I would say it's understated. At least in a certain light that I saw that in, it did not look bad at all. I actually really, really enjoyed the interior of the Platinum. David from Automotive Press loves his Toyota. He goes in detail about Tacoma and Tundra as well. Yes, he does. He's an engineer too. A lot of engineers, it seems like, definitely love to go into detail in their videos. Isn't the 4Runner much lighter than the Land Cruiser? That could explain some of the performance. I mean, maybe. I don't think, if it is, I don't think it's lighter by much, especially when you get into the all-wheel drive versions and stuff too, or even the 4-wheel drive hybrid versions. I don't think it's lighter by much when you are talking hybrid to hybrid. If you're looking at like an SR5 compared to a Land Cruiser, then yeah, but maybe a couple 100 pounds, but that's like, what, you don't have like a buddy in the car or something like that, you know? So, I mean, it can't be that bad. And the last couple questions, if you guys have any other questions, fire them in. We're at 2 hours. I still got one more workout to do today because we're still on 75 hard. We have not missed a day. And I got to pack and get ready for DC. I had my dinner and everything before this, cooked up a very quick steak. It's actually pretty good and juicy. We were able to find some eggs at the grocery store. That was good. It's a crazy world, bro. Already answered that one. Sorry late to the party, Hollow says, in general, is it worth getting the new 4Runner with all the issues that the Tacoma had? So, I don't think, personally, that the Tacoma had a lot of issues. I would say yes. Really, the only notable issue was the grille shutter mechanism, which has been fixed, and the transmission stuff with debris in the transmissions, which has a TSB for all affected Tacomas, if they show symptoms of a transmission issue. Aside from that, some fit and finish stuff. You know, I know that there are those onesie twosies issues that people have here and there with their Tacomas that I see on the Facebook pages and whatnot, but like nothing that was overly newsworthy. Not like I'm trying to downplay anything. So I truly feel that the Tacoma actually had a pretty decent launch, aside from the transmission stuff, some early QC things, and the grille shutter mechanisms. Unless I'm missing something, you guys can let me know in the comments if I'm missing something like big from Tacoma. But I think that, especially with a lot of the components the same in the 4Runner as they are the Tacoma, again, different manufacturers because it is out in Asia versus North America, I think that the 4Runner will have a very solid first year. Knock on wood. I hope that I am not wrong. I think that the 4Runner will have a very solid first year. Ray says, great live stream, John. Looking forward to the LX700H impressions as well as more GX content if you go that route. We will 100% be going the GX route. I'm just not sure how soon. It may be next year at this point because we got 4Runner stuff to do this year. That's going to be a big thing for me, and it may be something else. I don't know. We'll see. But yes, we will be doing GX stuff, and I believe they have a GX at this LX event that I'm about to go to, so maybe we can sneak some GX content in as well while we are at the LX event. John says, I know you're a Toyota guy, but have you heard anything about the new Nissan Xterra? I saw that Nissan did a patent for it, but aside from that, I haven't seen anything else about it. I think it'd be cool. Competition's healthy, and I hope that they bring it back out, you know, and it's another option for people if they don't want the 4Runner. Logan says, I waited for the 6th gen, and I'm disappointed in the price. 5th gen for life. Just wait, and, you know, towards the end of the year, you may be able to get a 4Runner for $4,000 or $5,000 under MSRP, and maybe that will bring it down a little bit more to more reasonable pricing. The MSRP has gone up, but just like Tacomas right now, you can get some Tacomas for $5,000 off, even SR5s upwards of $8,000 off, which is a pretty good deal. So I wouldn't let just MSRP be crazy right now. Let's just wait. Let's let hundreds of thousands get into the United States a year, 2 years in, and get a good deal on one, right? Do you know when the iForce Max trims are starting to get built? Seems all early production in transit 6th gens are non-hybrids. Yes. The hybrids will be built at the end of this month is what Toyota told us. So, which means maybe mid-March they should get there. Wonder if gas mileage is improved to low 20s average on the 6th gen. I think it is. Combined is anywhere from 19 to 21 for certain models. So we'll see what real world is, Drew, at the end of the day from him. But guys, I hope I answered everyone's questions. To recap, real quick, before we go away, I appreciate everyone that donated. I appreciate everyone that stayed in here. We were almost at 200 freaking people for the whole live stream, which is absolutely crazy. Make sure you guys vote for the poll before you guys leave. It is pinned at the comments. We are at 78% for people actually want an off-road premium over over a normal off-road, which I thought it was going to go completely different than that. So thank you guys for the live stream. The 4Runner, it drove like a car should, right? It was different than the Tacoma. It felt more planted on the road than the 5th gen does. It didn't feel as tanky as the 5th gen did, but parts and materials did feel like it was a vehicle that came out of Japan. The 4-cylinder non-I-Force drove fine. It got the vehicle up and going to highway speeds, no problem. Passing power, perfectly fine. And then the hybrid is just a monster. The hybrid has so much torque. It is so powerful. It is not lackluster like the Land Cruiser is. Even though my Land Cruiser, it gets up and moves that big, heavy vehicle totally fine. The 4Runner, and along with Tacoma, they just have some extra oomph to them. I don't know what it is. They just have extra oomph. It's on regular gas too. Maybe it's just the way that it was tuned. I off-roaded the Trail Hunter, the longer wheelbase, 112.2. Thank you, Ryan. Just felt very planted with the batteries hanging out over the axles in the back. It didn't feel like the ass end was like overly tippy. It was a very planted vehicle. It off-roaded really good on the tiny little trails that we had of it, right? It wasn't, crazy off-roading, but it was still a very decent cutout trail that they provided for us. So aside from that, do whatever you guys want to do with your money. Wait until I get the 6th gen for some more real world testing. Maybe after we have it for like 2-3 weeks, it ends up being a pile of crap. I don't know. But first impressions, we're pretty solid. I wouldn't say go sell your 5th gen 4Runner right now. This is the best thing since sliced bread. It's not. It's going to be good. It'll definitely, hopefully, prove itself and hopefully live up to, the 5th gen, which has just the biggest shoes to fill. So, guys, everyone that was in here, everyone that donated as well, Toyota Jeff starting it off, Wandering, Darren, Ryan, William, Shay, Thomas, Richard, Sam, Joey, Ryan again, Dimitri, and Willito. Guys, thank you so much for the donations. I truly appreciate it. Thomas Crisis says, I have a 24 Land Cruiser now. Next will be the 4Runner in a couple years. Good transition for sure. Guys, I appreciate it so much. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will catch you all in the next one. All right, guys, have a great night.